I am not a criminal.
Hello and welcome to Decriminalise, which is a performance based on research carried out by University of Ulster researchers funded by the Economic and Social Research Council. And the reason that we put this little performance together is so that people can understand why we need to decriminalise abortion in Northern Ireland and why Northern Ireland is the first part of the United Kingdom to actually have abortion decriminalised. The stories that you're going to hear read out tonight are the actual stories of women who very kindly came and spoke to us, risking prosecution actually as they did so, and it'll be their words that you'll be hearing read by the Alliance for Choice members here. Okay, thanks.
The law on abortion in Northern Ireland is from 1861, before the light bulb was invented, before women had the vote. It's called the Offences Against the Person Act. Section 58 makes it a crime for anyone to cause her own abortion using poison or instruments. This felony is punishable by up to life in prison. Section 59 forbids assisting a woman to cause her abortion, and this misdemeanor is also punishable by prison. This is the law under which a mother is currently awaiting trial because she got abortion pills for her own 15-year-old daughter.
Under Section 5 of the Criminal Law of Northern Ireland 1967, anyone who knows about a crime must report it to the police. This applies to medical professionals who find a woman who has used abortion pills. The 2016 guidance on termination of pregnancy in Northern Ireland states that professionals should be clear, however, that patient confidentiality is not a bar to respond to reporting offences to the police. This is the main reason decriminalisation is an urgent issue in the North.
I can't really understand why anybody travels when you have the pill option. I mean, I know there are people who don't find out till later on, and there's certain reasons why people have to travel, but the pill is just so simple and easy to use. Obviously, the illegality of the situation is one drawback to it, and that creates a culture of fear and worry that I think you wouldn't have if you were taking the pills somewhere where it was legal. The best thing about the pills was I was able to do it all in my own home. It all happened very quickly. I think I took the pills when I was just in my 5th week. So I was expecting it all to be much worse than it was, but it was just like a period. I can't imagine what it would be like if you had to book flights and all that time waiting and waiting for everything to happen and being in a strange country or, being around strangers. I think that would really add a lot of trauma to the situation. So I definitely think that one of the best things was being able to manage it all myself. Download a load of movies and, I only needed to take one day off work and I kind of planned it around when my kids weren't going to be there. But also expense-wise as well. I wouldn't have been able to have travelled. I was expecting it to be really bad because I had had a miscarriage before and I remember that as just excruciating agony. So I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be something like that. I'd taken painkillers in advance, but it was relatively painless. I thought the website instructions were very clear, and you knew what to expect, and you knew that there was help there if you needed it. So all of that was good. I think the only real problem would be that even though it says on the website that if you get into any bother, it's safe to go to the hospital and just tell them that you spontaneously miscarried, but there's still an element of fear with that. And I think I can see why that would stop some women from trying to get help. Even in terms of aftercare and counselling and stuff, you're still going up to someone and admitting that you committed a crime. So that's a bit of a scary prospect. I think that would stop a lot of people from actually accessing the aftercare counselling supports that are available. I'm quite an open person and I would have happily told people what was going on. Because I think if you tell people, then they can offer you support. And if you don't tell people, then you're stuck doing things on your own in silence and fear and shame. So it was annoying and isolating not being able to tell people. And it also sort of made you feel about nervous, like, who can I trust? Because what if someone turns around and tells the police on me or something? and you're in the middle of this process and all of a sudden the police arrive at your door or something, that's a bit horrible as well. It kind of makes you look at your connections and your friendships in a bit of a different light, which I think is really wrong. Like, would we be doing that for any other kind of medical procedure? No. I am not a criminal.
Most people in the North do not agree that abortion should be part of criminal law. When asked for the Life and Times survey in 2016, 71% agreed that, quote, abortion should be a matter for medical regulation and not criminal law, end quote. By 2018, after publicity about the prosecutions, 82% agreed that abortion should not be part of criminal law. In other words, more than 4 out of 5 people agree with decriminalisation of abortion.
The proportion of people who agree that it is a woman's right to choose whether or not to have an abortion also increased from 63% in 2016 to 71% in 2018. We have always thought we are the pro-choice majority, but now we know we are.
I wasn't done university. I didn't have much going on for me. I think if I'm ever going to bring a child into the world, I want to give it the best life. And I just wasn't in the position to give a child the best life at all. I was still living with my mum. Me and my partner had only been together for a few months, so it was a big shock pregnancy. I mean, it was a big shock. We just weren't ready at all. If we went over to England, it was costing something like £500, even close to £1,000 to get over there and stay and everything. I was 19 at the time, so I definitely couldn't afford that. We had pills, and it was a backup plan, but I ended up taking them anyway. And it did work out, but it was very scary to take them. Very scary. The website was brilliant and everything, but I think it was just on my head. And whenever the pills came, I never opened them, it just looked really scary. And it was just like, there was a letter and all saying it was from the doctor, prescribed from the doctor and blah blah blah. But I was scared, wasn't I? It was just really scary. Honestly, my experience was absolutely horrific. I did a lot of research on it, and the website that I got them off did give you a lot of information about it, but nothing could have prepared me for what my body was about to go through. I'd gone to the very end of when you could take the pills. I was over 9 weeks, and from the second batch of pills you had to dissolve them under your tongue, and as soon as they were dissolved, within 15 minutes I was throwing up. I'd started bleeding, and my body just went into complete shock. So it was horrible. I was lying on the bathroom floor, and it was like something out of a movie, honestly. It was a nightmare. And looking back now, I can't believe that I went through that. Within an hour, I couldn't move from the bathroom. When I say agony, I mean I was in the worst pain that I ever felt in my life. It was probably about 2 hours. Everything else I could have dealt with, but it was those 2 hours where I really thought that the worst was going to happen. I fell asleep. Well, eventually I got to sleep. And I don't know how, because I was still throwing up and everything. It was just horrific. But I just remember waking up, and it all sounds very dramatic, but I woke up and I was like, I can't believe I'm alive. And the pain wasn't as bad when I woke up, but it was still excruciating, like nothing I'd ever been through before. The thing that kind of strikes me the most about it, when I remember back to it, was we got a taxi up to my mum's house and I was throwing up and everything was coming out of me. Everything. And I just remember being like, I turned around to my partner and was like, we need to go to the hospital. Even though I knew I couldn't go because what I had done was completely illegal. And I was saying to him, and it was really dramatic because I just kept thinking, I am going to die. I think I am going to die. we need to go to the hospital. But he was like, we can't. Just calm down and just wait till we get to your mum's and see what's going to happen. And then whenever we got to my mum's, I kind of calmed down a bit, and I was like, right, I can't go to the hospital because of what I've done. Like, you do get prosecuted and everything like that. But yeah, I wouldn't have gone for medical help. I am not a criminal.
Decriminalisation does not mean a free-for-all. Medical regulation will remain and be enforced by the General Medical Council and the Nursing and Midwifery Council, as well as by the RQIA. These are overseen by the Professional Standards Authority for Health and Social Care, sometimes referred to as a super-regulator or a health watchdog.
Abortion was decriminalised in Canada in 1988, and since then, abortion in Canada has only had medical regulation. But Canada has a lower abortion rate than England at 14.5 per 1,000 women of childbearing age, compared to 17.4 per 1,000 women in England. The rate for abortion after 20 weeks in England, which is 1.9%, is 3 times that of Canada, which is 0.6%.
Well, I have never wanted to have children. I've always known that, but I still did. It's never easy when it happens because you've got the potential for life, and you do. You have the existential, you have the moral, I've done this once, do I do it a second time? Because I had an abortion in England when I was a teenager. It's not necessarily voiced as such, but there is a kind of subtext of, maybe if you get caught once, everybody makes mistakes. But that kind of, you should be a bit more, I don't know. We are our own kind of critics in your head. That kind of, really at this age, I suppose it did weigh on me a little bit. Even though I'm nearly 40, I still don't feel any different to how I did when I was 20. You get that kind of guilt. What am I trying to say? It was difficult, but I don't feel that I made a mistake or that I did anything morally wrong. Growing up in Derry, I don't really have much trust or esteem in law. Obviously the fear of getting caught, that is a real issue. I had some issues taking them because of not reading the instructions properly, and because I was in a kind of panic, and alone, but I helped other people do it. So definitely the fact that it was illegal did not deter me. In fact, it made me, knowing the difficulties that I went through, the fact that it wasn't legal, and that it was something that was underground, made me angry to actively break the law, because I don't think it's morally right that it's illegal. You do just be afraid of, what if I hemorrhage, But that's it, really, just the fear of physical complications. And of course then, the extra one of being caught. When I was pregnant, it was a miserable time for me. Like, I couldn't eat. It was really bad. Nausea for like 14 days and all that kind of stuff. So I was really weak. So whenever you're physically weak on top of all of that and losing blood and everything, you're not really thinking straight. So just when the fear and the pain as well was really sore. It was early, yeah. I was probably around 7 to 8 weeks. I found out at about 6 weeks. I just knew. Yeah, it was early, but it was still quite traumatic. The bleeding, it was intense. For like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, I had to go to hospital. I just said, I think I've had a miscarriage, and that's all I said. I said I've had clots and had this and that, but I don't think a fetal sac has come out. What they did was, They give me the same pill that I took illegally, that I acquired online. Yeah. And then they sent me home. And then I had to come back again. And then they had to take stuff out a week later. So it went on for a bit for me. But then I helped another girl through it, and it was just straightforward, very easy. It was fine. I am not a criminal.
Families with children, especially lone parent families, have suffered most as a result of welfare reform and austerity. It is no surprise then that since 2008, government statistics show a marked increase in the abortion rate among those over 35 years old, those most likely to already have children. Abortion clinics report austerity as the main cause of the increased abortion rate among over 35s.
The two-child policy and the benefit cap mean that families faced with an unplanned pregnancy can feel that they have to end or a third or a subsequent pregnancy in order to protect the children they already have. This is the opposite of choice. This situation is criminal.
From before I even took a pregnancy test to confirm that I was pregnant, I sort of had an idea. I knew before I even took the test what I was going to do. It just wasn't financially possible for me to travel. I was able to carry out the abortion far earlier. If I was to have travelled, for me to have got the money, it would have made things been further on in the pregnancy, which would have made something that was a painful decision already much worse. And at the same time, I was able to stay at home. I wasn't having to go. I felt like an outcast. That discomfort of feeling that you were being, as I say, outcast, swept away over the sea. The fear was quite surreal because I remember sitting in my bedroom and it was a beautiful day outside and my mum was out. My window was open and she was just chatting away to the neighbours. And I just thought, they have no idea that I'm up here taking these. And all I had was a box of ibuprofen and a wee temperature strip that you get on a cough bottle. And I thought, is this real? Like, am I being serious? I just thought, this is madness. And I suppose thinking, am I bleeding too much? One minute you thought, I'm not bleeding enough. And then the next you think, am I bleeding too much? I was constantly checking my skin in the mirror, reading over symptoms again and again, constantly checking, have I got any rashes? Just panicking. Is everything okay? Am I feeling alright? And then I suppose eventually after that as well, my mum found out about it. And she hadn't been so well at the time. There was a wee bit of blackmailing and threatening going on. I suppose it was always my fear, is mummy going to report me? And I didn't know. So it was the fear of your own physical well-being and then a fear of being found out and not knowing what would lie ahead for you. I didn't read that much into knowing that it was actually illegal. I just knew that abortion wasn't offered here because it's part of the UK, I didn't think it was actually illegal. So, it was, and then I suppose afterwards, after I ordered them, then I realised it was a criminal offence to do it, but as I say, I was desperate and I didn't see any other way. I would have been about 6 weeks when I'd ordered the tablets because I wanted to get it over with quickly. I was able to arrange to get the tablets here and then replace them with mine when they came. I was actually surprised that I wasn't in pain at all. Like nothing. I've had period pains that were worse than that. Which was another thing. I started thinking, was it even working? Am I alright or have I done it wrong? But no, I was fine, and to be honest, looking back, I don't think even if I thought I should see someone, I don't know if I actually would have.
am not a criminal.
If Stormont hasn't been restored by the 21st of October, Sections 58 and 59 of the 1861 Offences Against the Person Act will be repealed and abortion decriminalised. Between then and March 2020, people who are past 9 weeks of pregnancy will continue to travel to England if they want an abortion, but those who've been given the tragic news that their wanted pregnancy has a fatal or very severe abnormality, they will be able to access abortion here if that's what they decide.
The most immediate impact of decriminalisation will be that women who can or don't want to travel and who get pills from women on web will be able to go to A&E and get medical help if they need it. And they won't need to worry about whether they will be arrested or prosecuted because there will be no crime to report.
The decision-making process. It was excruciating to make a decision as to whether or not to order the pills. It probably took a week of crying every day for a week, on and off, and discussing it with my husband and, should we order them or should we not? But I just couldn't face another pregnancy. With the other three, it was very difficult, both during the pregnancy and after. And we'd been very careful. It was just one of those things that I happened to get pregnant, even with being very, very careful. We made the decision that we didn't want any more children, and unfortunately it just happened. And I couldn't do another one. I mentally couldn't do another one. The thought of taking a flight and probably having to do it alone. And my husband would have had to be bringing the children to school in different parts of Belfast and collecting them, and I didn't want to tell anybody, so doing that alone was a very frightening possibility. So it was sort of unfathomable. I just couldn't have imagined doing that. Plus, with a lot of sickness, the thought of travelling just seemed really daunting. It seemed impossible at the time. So that was a good thing about, being able to have pills that you could take in your own home. Having to order them at all was, I suppose, a bad thing. It wasn't something I'd ever seen myself having to do. The bad thing was that mine didn't arrive and that they were seized in customs, and it was just a nightmare after that. I'm not going to get into it, but with the police and everything else, it was just horrendous. There was a lot of bad after that, although I never received the pills. I did know abortion was illegal, I did, but I don't know, I suppose I never really thought it through. My husband and I were discussing, and he found the site and ordered them for me, and it seemed like it was from a very reputable site. There was an EU doctor that was available to talk to you, and I just thought that maybe under the EU, I never thought much about it. I thought it was possibly okay. It never occurred to me that they wouldn't arrive, that there would be an issue with customs. We have never been involved in anything illegal, so it was just a whole new thing to us. From when the police arrived to the door to when we knew it was over was, let me think, probably over a year, roughly in and about a year, possibly more. And it was hurried, so for others it was probably a lot longer. For us it was kind of rushed through because of my health. The police were very good actually. There was one particular officer who was very good, and I think seeing and reading my medical history, she was actually quite helpful. And I think they felt uncomfortable themselves with the situation. I suppose they were doing their jobs in a sense. When the pills didn't arrive and we realised that the customs had taken them, we realised that there was something wrong. We haven't ordered these. So I went to England to have a legal abortion. It is not something I ever thought I would do, I have to say. I never thought I would do that. And it's not that I regret it. It was the right decision for me. But it's not something that I liked having done. I can't imagine that I'd be very open about it, no. I found it hard to forgive myself. So I don't know what other people would say. I can imagine, but maybe they wouldn't be so forgiving. I went to a counsellor after, and yes, I did come to terms with it, and things are better. But it was a bumpy road, and would have made it much easier if it had been a more open subject. I am not a criminal.
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 I am not a criminal.